My name is Brian Endless. I'm a professor of political science in the political science department at Loyola University Chicago. I'm also the director of the Black World Studies interdisciplinary program at Loyola, and I'm a senior advisor to the Hotel Rwanda Rusesabagina Foundation. I first learned about Rwanda when I was in graduate school in 1994. The genocide in Rwanda was basically happening just before I was in grad school. I met Paul at an event in Chicago. He was here to promote his new foundation, and it was an event down at Reverend Jesse Jackson's Rainbow Push Coalition talking about Rwanda and what's happening in Rwanda today. So the first time I met Paul was at a foundation event. I very quickly, after meeting Paul, started talking with him pretty much nonstop and became a senior advisor to the foundation. And in that capacity, I will help Paul to write speeches. I will author and co-author policy pieces and articles about what's happening in Rwanda or what's happening next door in the Congo, which is very closely related to what goes on in Rwanda. And then I also give speeches in a variety of places for the foundation on subjects in Rwanda and the Congo. The foundation started out of Paul's efforts with his wife Tatiana when they were still in Rwanda. They stuck around for about 2 years after the genocide. And one of the things that they were doing was helping widows and orphans who had survived the genocide. And Paul and Tassi started by helping members of their family, helping kids to get educations, helping widows to have enough money to feed their families. And this very quickly moved into extended family and then other people that they were fortunate enough to be able to help out. Foundation's purpose is to provide a humanitarian focus to Rwanda, to try to bring out information about what has happened in Rwanda since the genocide and what's happening now, to focus on human rights violations and showing that there are enormous human rights problems, and also to focus attention on things like the conflict in the Congo, which is being driven by the Rwandan government and others. Genocide in Rwanda was absolutely horrific. About 800,000 people were killed. We'll never know the exact number. It was a genocide where the military and the militia were actively hunting Tutsis, and we think about 400,000 Tutsis were killed in the conflict, but a lot of Hutus were caught up in the conflict too. And then there was also a civil war going on, and the Tutsi RPF, coming into the country from the neighboring country of Uganda, were killing a lot of Hutus during this time too. So there was a terrible genocide going on one side with Hutus killing Tutsis and other Hutus. There were also a lot of war crimes going on the other side, with the Tutsi RPF being accused of significant war crimes as they came into the country. The genocide went on for about 100 days. And at the end of that point in time, the RPF took control of Kigali, the capital of Rwanda, and they chased the remaining Hutu forces out of the country into the neighboring country of the Congo. Rwanda is currently considered by most people to be a dictatorship under President Paul Kagame. He tries to mask this, though, to the international community. So he wants everybody else to believe that Rwanda is a democracy with great economic growth. Well, Rwanda has elections every 7 years for president, and the last 2 times Kagame got 96% of the vote and 93% of the vote, and nobody was allowed to run against him. That's hardly a democracy. And there is economic growth in the country. It's very true. The country actually has great economic growth compared to many other African countries, but the benefits only go to a tiny number of people. So for the vast majority of people, they are actually economically worse off in many cases than they were before the genocide. The main goals of the foundation are to spread information about this such that we can get the mass populations in the West, in the US and Britain and other countries to help better support the Rwandan people. We really want to make sure that the world understands what's happening in Rwanda and starts to focus on helping the Rwandan people instead of helping a Rwandan government that's hurting those people. And as much as possible, we'll keep Rwanda in the news and make sure that people see the reality of what's going on both there and in the Congo.